Have you ever experienced a persistent sense of loneliness or a shadow of worry and despair that just won't go away? Even the most resilient people can be affected by these clinging feelings. Even though the ancient Stoics were renowned for their extraordinary bravery and perseverance, they were not immune to feelings of sadness or isolation. What then set them apart? In this video, we'll explore their practical approach to addressing these feelings rather than focusing on their absence. We'll look at 12 Stoic techniques that can help turn these difficult feelings into chances for development and introspection. Consider these treatments as instruments in your Stoic toolkit, each serving a specific function to assist in mending your spirit, guiding you through difficult situations, and improving your perspective. Whether you're feeling alone, overwhelmed, or just stuck, keep in mind that, like the Stoics, you possess the inner fortitude to confront these feelings head-on and come out on top. Thus, stay put if you're prepared to close this chapter and begin a new one in which those feelings are obstacles you can overcome. Together, we'll examine these time-tested techniques for thriving rather than merely surviving. 1. Make a physical movement. Exercise is more than just a means of being fit. It's an essential tactic in the fight against depression and loneliness. Imagine it as an internal dialogue where every movement serves to reaffirm your fortitude and resiliency. Whether you're stretching, jogging, or strolling, you're deliberately moving toward a calmer, more lucid state of mind, not away from your problems. Throughout this process, every action you perform and breath you take will contribute to the story of your own personal revival, a narrative of triumph. Let's face it, having a bad day or feeling lonely can make you want to hide away from the outside world. But here's a secret. Well, not so secret. Your body is amazingly capable of defending itself against these shadows. You light up the shadowy areas of your mind with a beacon of light that you ignite within yourself by moving. Simply move with intention. You don't need to run marathons or scale mountains. Every move you make, whether it's a little stroll in the park or a single dance in your living room, is an attack on the bonds of hopelessness. It serves as a reminder that you are in charge and that you can design the course that leads to pleasure and recovery. 2. Improve your friendship with yourself. Though it may seem like a contemporary take on age-old advice, treating oneself as your best friend can be a very effective weapon in the fight against sadness and loneliness. For a brief moment, picture yourself confronting a difficult ascent up life's mountain with numerous obstacles that appear insurmountable along the way. Would you give a friend the finger for making mistakes on this route, or would you give them support and encouragement and have faith in their ability to get through it? Imagine the old Stoic character Clinias, who once heard a soul talking to itself as though it were a worthless outsider. Clinias's intervention was straightforward but effective. "Remember, you're not talking to a bad person," he remarked, cutting with a gentleness that cut through the loop of self-criticism and loneliness. This is not merely a historical narrative. Rather, it serves as a mirror reflecting our own struggles, in which loneliness gives rise to a critical inner voice that pushes us farther away from the comfort of interpersonal relationships. Accepting this friendship with yourself is about being honest about your value, rather than about giving yourself false comforts or romantic platitudes. When you're on the verge of feeling unworthy, keep in mind the advice given on the streets of Athens. Harsh self-talk keeps us from experiencing the love and connection we so desperately want. It involves changing the mental script from one of enemy to one of ally. You are a human, complex and able to change. You are not a horrible person. This insight is the key to not just discovering self-love, but also to widening the door to a world where other people are able to recognize your light. It's a timeless prescription from the Stoics that encourages you to be the kind of friend you would want for yourself. 3. Feel content. At times, pursuing and realizing one's aspirations might seem like an endless quest for happiness, replete with moments of success but also an unquenchable thirst for more. This never-ending quest frequently causes us to lose sight of the beauty of the circumstances we are in, creating a contradiction where achievement is accompanied by unhappiness. This is an all-too familiar story, one that is repeated in stories of people who have experienced fame and then struggled with a feeling of emptiness. Consider the case of an actor who, in spite of receiving high praise from the public for a popular television program, was entangled in a web of nervous unhappiness and yearned for further recognition in the film industry. His experiences highlight a vital truth. The relationship we build with ourselves is what ultimately brings us happiness, not the recognition or success we receive. To be content means to live in the moment, accept and value where we are at, and not let incessant comparisons or the desire for what we lack get in the way. It's about finding fulfillment in the journey, realizing that the pursuit of more can frequently divert us from the satisfaction we really desire. This method changes our perspective and teaches us to appreciate the present and find delight in the simplicity of being rather than the difficulty of reaching goals, not to mention that it lessens feelings of loneliness and depression. 4. Look down from above. Imagine being on a piece of land that you name your own, experiencing its immensity stretching beneath your feet, and then realizing how big it actually is from the perspective of a spacecraft or airplane. All of a sudden, what was seemingly endless now resembles a dot within an endless fabric. This viewpoint is not new. It is a common sense that dates back to the time of Marcus Aurelius, who ruled an empire the size of the known world and understood the value of panning out. With its border conflicts, he viewed his dominion as little more than ants on a crumb. This lens serves as a reminder that life's cycles, the ebb and flow of generations, and the ceaseless recurrence of human nature's dance are not exclusive to our time. Our own struggles, the times we consider significant, are only echoes in an endless tale. By changing our perspective, we discover that most of the time, our largest concerns are actually much less than we realize, and the seemingly little things actually tie us to the universal human experience. It's an invitation to adopt a more expansive viewpoint, discovering comfort, modesty, and understanding in the knowledge that we are a small part of something much bigger, a story that has been told for millennia. This change of perspective encourages us to find meaning in both the large and the little, and to acknowledge the enduring power and resilience that have always been at the center of the human spirit. Rather than diminishing our experiences, it connects us to the expanse of life itself. 5. Acquire the ability to endure alongside others. Whether it's climbing a mountain's formidable heights, rowing a crew in unison through the mist of dawn, or sitting in meditation together and facing the chaos of one's own thoughts, there's a deep strength and magic in the collaborative effort to overcome challenges. These kinds of encounters, which are very different from the lonesome exercises like swimming or jogging, create bonds that go beyond simple friendship. They serve as a reminder that we fight our battles alongside other soldiers who share our spirit, not by ourselves. Imagine the strength that may be seen in the eyes of someone who is equally strong, equally weak, and capable of pushing over the pain barrier. True community does not emerge in the luxury of easy wins, but rather in the crucible of group challenge. Let this be a call to action, to come forward and stand with those who want to do more than merely persevere. Together, let's conquer. We never have to confront the dark alone, since it is through the furnace of shared adversity that we find our genuine strength. Request assistance. It takes courage to face challenges head-on. It all comes down to knowing when to offer assistance. Even the strongest fighters understood the need of having a shield wall by their side, even though facing the storm alone might build strength. Don't be ashamed to need help. Like a soldier storming a wall, you have a mission to accomplish. And if you've been wounded and need a comrade to pull you up, so what? Once said Marcus Aurelius, a Stoic not only in philosophy but also in the battles he led. This old proverb still has value today, especially for people who feel like they have the entire world on their shoulders. It's a call to arms to find your legion, your community, who is prepared to fight beside you and take the weight of the losses. The ability to reach out is what defines strength, not suffering in silence. Imagine support groups as the circles of recovery, where people who are at their lowest point discover a common strength through support from one another and shared struggles rather than via an oppressive hierarchy. It's an example of the strength of group perseverance and a contemporary setting where Stoics are created, not born. You're not less of a person for asking for assistance. You're just following the wise route that even emperors have traveled. Together, we can move from the shadows and into the light, with every voice calling for assistance and every hand raised in unison. 7. Pay attention to your route. It takes more than just knowing where you want to go to make your way in this busy world. It takes discipline to keep on course and avoid getting lost in the commotion. Seneca presented the concept of amathia, or the knowledge of our journey without being sidetracked by the numerous routes that converge on it. This age-old proverb serves as a helpful reminder that the real test is not figuring out our path, but rather avoiding the want to stray from it when tempted by the achievements and mistakes of those around us. It's an exercise in self-assurance and self-control, asking us to concentrate on our objectives and deadlines without giving in to the many distractions that abound in our everyday lives. Accepting this route entails realizing that each person's journey, including our own, is distinct. We find a deep feeling of purpose and pleasure when we stop comparing our accomplishments to those of others. It takes ongoing work to conquer the ego and the never-ending search for approval in order to arrive at this realization. The benefit, however, is freedom from comparison and the ability to follow our goals without fear of jealousy or uncertainty. By concentrating on our route, we develop a resilience that protects us against the feelings of isolation and melancholy that frequently result from feeling out of pace with the world. We also navigate life with a clearer vision. 8. Recall that everything is transient. Life has a curious way of leveling the playing field to the point where our acts become less and less noticeable. As the ancient Marcus Aurelius noted, the last address beneath the soil is the same for both Julius Caesar and the lowest Roman citizen. A potent reminder that, in the grand scheme of things, our pursuits of notoriety, significance, or immortality are simply transient murmurs in the face of eternity. History says, "Sic transit gloria," reminding us that splendor is a guest, not a permanent inhabitant. Popularity, fame, and the appearance of significance all entice us with promises of immortality, yet they can occasionally leave us trapped in the afterglow of forgetfulness. This realization is a call to root our efforts in the soil of virtue rather than the sands of praise, not a reason to give up. To focus on guiding our own ship through life's tumultuous seas, to nurture kindness, and to dedicate ourselves to the good we can accomplish right now. These are the lights that help us find our way through the illusion of transience. Ultimately, the deepest channels in the river of time are carved by our actions and character integrity, not by the cheers of the masses. 9. Accept hardship. You shouldn't back down in the face of any obstacle, rejection, heartbreak, or defeat. It's the universe's special way of challenging you to a power struggle and a fight with fate. Through the millennia, Seneca speaks to us that we discover our actual selves on the less traveled, difficult route. Yes, it's nice to sail easily across calm waters, but it's the storms that show us who our inner captain is. It's easy to wallow in disappointment when life doesn't go as planned. However, it's precisely these hardships, the friction and resistance we encounter, that shape us into better selves. We are presented with a wonderful opportunity when we are deep in the trenches, when dreams seem far off and plans go awry. This isn't about hoping for an easier life. Rather, it's about embracing chaos, overcoming it, and growing stronger and wiser in the process. Accept this. Let every setback serve as a springboard for perseverance, a moral exercise, and a stride toward greatness. Recall that the sweet taste of victory is never as satisfying without the bitter aftertaste of struggles waged and challenges met. Thus, even if life doesn't follow your beat, keep dancing. You are becoming a more resilient and content version of yourself during these unplanned times. 10. Don't hold back your feelings. It may seem like you're carrying a boulder on your shoulders when you're depressed or alone, yet even the most intelligent people in antiquity struggled with such enormous obstacles. Seneca wrote 4 moving pieces known as his Consolations, using his pen as his sword to not only speak to, but also hug the soul during its darkest moments. These weren't just words, they were strands of hope sent into the choppy waters of human emotion. Don't put your feelings in a box and throw away the key is a lesson Dad taught us that is just as important today as it was back then. It's about identifying the emotional maelstrom and finding a way through it, not about donning an armor of apathy. As its ruler, not as its prisoner. The first step is to realize why a cloud of grief is hanging over you. True strength, however, comes from understanding that it's acceptable to feel and that human connections are complex. Mind and heart are in a tango, with each taking the lead when the situation demands it. Therefore, keep in mind that you are not being asked to mute your heart when the weight of loneliness or grief feels too great. Rather, you are being asked to listen to it, to comprehend it, and to realize that sometimes the way forward is acceptance and wisdom rather than suppression. 11. Look for quiet. Using silence to your advantage in a world that never stops talking, scrolling, and moving may seem like an old secret, but it is a soul-healing technique, particularly when loneliness or grief come calling. Marcus Aurelius suggests that you should picture oneself as a rock in the middle of the ocean, unflinching from the waves of anxiety, uncertainty, and loneliness that slam against you. Finding your center in the middle of the chaos is more important than ignoring it. Breathe slowly, focus steadily, and firmly put your feet on the ground. This quiet period isn't just a break. It's when the magic happens, when ideas blossom, when bonds grow stronger, and when happiness radiates from within. You'll discover the courage to face the world in this calm, not as it spins around you, but as you choose to interact with it. Accepting quiet teaches you how to dance with the waves, transforming depressive and lonely moments into profoundly peaceful and purposeful ones. It also helps you not simply weather the storm. 12. Recognize the situation as it is. Accepting things as they are is a potent remedy for the loneliness and melancholy that frequently accompany our obsessive pursuit of other results. In the whirlwind of life, it's easy to get lost in a sea of what-ifs and if-onlys. This is about finding the courage that comes from accepting life's volatility, the unexpected lessons in disappointment, and the hidden harmony in the turmoil, rather than about giving up or admitting defeat. We can get a deep sense of clarity and calm by accepting the current moment for what it is, not for what we wish it were. This viewpoint is a call to action to interact with life on its terms and discover our purpose and enjoyment in the reality that is being revealed around us, not to remain passive. Consider living the life of a river. You can fight the flow, wearing yourself out attempting to swim too quickly toward the future or return to a previous time. Alternatively, you can choose to float, trusting in the voyage and taking pleasure in the sights as you go, letting the water carry you where it will. This is what amor fati, or the love of fate, is all about. It teaches us to be grateful for every curveball life throws at us, realizing that each one contributes to the development of the person we are destined to be. A voice from the past, Marcus Aurelius, talks to us across time, asking us to see that everything we give to the fire of our lives, joy, sadness, victory or defeat, fuels our development and illuminates the way to greatness. Through accepting our circumstances as chances rather than as roadblocks, we develop resilience and a profound, unwavering contentment. Embrace the practice rather than just the theory, and you will see your own metamorphosis. These Stoic cures are more than simply sayings. They're a guide to living a resilient and deeply satisfied life. Every week, I reach out to a global community looking for a more meaningful life by sharing Stoic thoughts and wisdom. Join us by clicking the link below if your spirit is calling for direction. You have control over your subscription and go on a journey that is free but rich with benefits. Accept the knowledge that has endured for millennia and witness firsthand how it transforms your surroundings.